All right, everyone. I'm Yelena. This is our second session on Cognos Analytics. It was meant to be last week, but I waited for another week to make sure the application is very stable, which it has been. The server has been stable for 2 weeks, so all good. Now, uh, again, I'm going to be covering a lot of information, and you will need to watch the recording or parts of the recording more than once, okay? So, here's the agenda. I'm going to do a little bit of review of decision tree model. We'll talk about the dashboard. We talk about the stories. And of course, I'll try to address your questions and answers. Okay. So some reminders. Please do not try changing your Cognos Analytics password because then if any issue happens, I won't be able to log in as you to troubleshoot. Please save all the work and please remember to close all open files before you log out, okay? Everything that's open, please close it. Please do not exit the application by closing the browser tab because you're gonna have a problem on the next login attempt. You actually need to exit. You log out from the application. You do not close the browser tab, okay? Uh, Please do not call UMGC help desk. They're not going to help you. What you need to do is you have to use the Salesforce form in the classroom to submit the tickets. All right. Remember that the accounts will be purged. Well, usually it's 3 weeks after the class ends, but here we are in a different situation because we're gonna have a new server for the fall. So well, if you need extended access, I need to be aware. So please ask your instructor to submit the request. The instructor needs to let me know if any of you have extended access, such as incomplete, okay? Then please keep paying attention to the course announcements. In emails for instructor on Cognos Analytics status, we had excellent 2 weeks, no outages, not even for a fraction of a second, okay? So now, this is our screenshot of claims and weather data that stores information about the customer, such as customer demographics, right, where they live, the type of vehicle that customer drives, the coverage that customer has, the type of accident that the customer got into, and we use that information to estimate the total claim amount. Remember that? So, uh, last time we stopped at the decision tree visualization. Okay, oops, what am I doing? Okay, we stopped at the decision tree visualization. Okay, so we need to look at the claims and weather data exploration, right? And do you remember that if we looked at it and there are some drivers, right? So if I look at these, those are the drivers of total claim amount. And I mentioned that you have one way driver, it's when a single column is a driver. Two-way driver, when combination of columns, of two columns is a driver, and a combination with when more than two columns drive the whatever you predict in total claim amount. But then I told you this: pay attention which one-way driver has highest predictive strength. In this case, is a location code, right? Location code has 38% predictive strength, and it's the highest. So it's very important because this is a column that will be used as a first split when you start building your decision tree for total claim amount. And we started looking at the decision trees in our last session, right? So I'm gonna do this full screen. That way it's easier to read. And I'm gonna look at the decision tree. First, let's look at the total claim amount decision tree. I'll minimize that. And I'm going to minimize this panel also, right? Just to get the maximum possible view, right? So what's happening here is that this node in the left-hand side, it represents all data that we have, right? And if I hover over the node, it tells me the number of records to which it applies, right? So I have the total number of records is what? 9,136, and I see the average claim amount for all records, right? But this is not what I need to do. Is I'm trying to estimate the average. So let's look. First, here, first splitting column is what? Location code, right? Remember, that's a driver with the highest predictive strength. The location code. Based on location code, I take a pass along the tree. So remember, it's a set of nodes, and each node represents the record with the same with similar statistics, let's say, right? So and the tree branches can be expanded and collapsed. So let me collapse this. Uh, you traverse the tree from left to right. So look, for example, suppose that our location is rural. You take this path, but there is no line. See that? There is no line under the node. That means that the node cannot be expanded further. That was it. So if the location is rural, we know this is our estimated total claim amount. Average total claim amount, $109. Something like that, right? But if the location code is urban, we have to go further. See, this node is expandable. We're gonna click. Next one, next driver is a vehicle class. See, like two doors, right? Or SUV. See that? I'm gonna collapse, but suppose that location is suburban and most of the data falls into suburban. Do you see that 63% of our data falls into suburban? Then I'm gonna do a vehicle class, but this one is vehicle class given that location is suburban, right? So then suppose that it's a two-door car. I take this path, right? And I keep going until I reach the terminal node. So how do we know where to stop? It's using for, for, for the numeric target, which is total claim amount. That's a numeric column, right? So for that, we are using something called the information gain. It's checking if any information is being gained by doing another split, right? So that, and another criteria is that the terminal nodes cannot have less than 25 records. And the total number of nodes in a tree is limited to 36. But remember, for the numeric column, for the numeric, you're looking at the information gain and you're estimating the average total claim amount. Remember? That's for the numeric. We're going to look at the categorical shortly. But see this? And this visualization, this is a way to visualize the rules. All right? You visualize, you can see the rule. Here, for example, you're going to say if location code is suburban and the vehicle is a two-door or four-door car, coverage is basic, marital status is single, then the average total claim amount is $450. Then basically what happens is when you have a brand new record, brand new claim, you should be able to try to see where the claim fits better, and you use this tree to estimate the total claim amount. Right, to see here, you have the color code. That's a different, the shade. It's not specific color. It's a shade. The darker, the higher the total claim amount, right? So you got that. And you also have sunburst visualization that tells you the portion of rules to which, the portion of data to which the rule applies, right? So you can see here, most of the claims are for customers in suburban location. Do you see this big slice? And this you have for the rural, right, and etc. So suppose that my location is suburban, I can expand this, right? Because if you see that line, if you see the solid line, it means you can expand this. You can keep going. This is similar to expanding the three nodes. See that this is suburban location, and it's split into three more. See the three branches. Same thing here. You will see this arch split into three arches, right? So this is, it just shows you the portion of data to which the rule applies, all right? And you also have the rules representation. This is rules written in English language. So it shows the predicted value, the meant value rather, right? And this is the criteria. For instance, the claims that fit into this profile will have this predicted total claim amount, right? So this is how you do with numeric. But what I didn't show you last time is that sometimes you want to predict the categorical column, right? Like for example, one example would be whether the student will graduate or not, something like that, yes or no. Right, so there are some examples. There are some situations where the columns that you want to predict is a categorical. For this one, it might not be the good choice in this case, but just to show you how it works, I picked employment status, the decision tree for employment status, but I want you to notice the big difference here. Well, first of all, what's the difference? Instead of actually estimating a specific value, you are predicting the category for categorical, right? So employment status could be disabled, employed, medical leave, retired, or unemployed, right? And you're not having the shade, you're having each value here has a different color. You see the difference? Then instead of looking at the average, you are predicting the category and you're looking in each node, and the dominant category in each node is going to be the value. You will traverse the tree starting from here, right from the top. This one here represents all data, and you can see the percentage of data that falls into each value, right? Here in this node. But here, it's going to be looking at the, instead of information gain, you're going to be looking at something called the classification error. So it's going to try to find the best set of predictors while minimizing the classification error. That's what it's going to do. But see that this tree can be collapsed. This is similar. You can collapse it and expand it, but we can traverse just a branch, just as an example here. So like, for example, so here I know this is all my data, right? And this is income. So you're looking at this. You're looking here, first branch is looking at the income under 25. This one is $25,820. Here is greater than 44,000, something like that. And here is between the first and last. So you're looking in which range the income falls under, and you take the pass based on that. And when you hover over the node, you can see the percentage of records for each employment status. See that? And each employment status has a different color code. So see that in here, again, you can see that unemployed dominates, but yet we can still use another column, right, to minimize the error. And again, here, no less than 25 records in each terminal node, and no more than 36 nodes in a tree, right? So then here, see this, you're looking at the marital status. Do you see this underlining here? It means that the node can be expanded further. I expanded it. Now here, you're looking at the response, yes or no. And suppose it is a yes. Oh, see this piece here is clear. effective to date, right? So here, the way you would read is that if income is under $25,820, and if the marital status is married and or divorced, and if the response is yes, and if this is effective to date is one of the dates on this list here, then the status, employment status is retired, right? Here, you can see that it's similar, but the date range is different, right? Look, I can highlight the rule, right? Like this. See, I can highlight it and I read it. But what about this guy over here? This is another list of effective to dates, but it can be expanded further, right? And what we're looking at in here, monthly premium, right? Right, so this is a monthly premium. So in here, note this note does not expand further, but you have here retired and unemployed, but retired dominates. Do you see that? Most of the values are retired. So then if the record meets this condition, right, if it lands under this, in this terminal node, then it means that employment status is retired, right? You take the most dominant. And this can be expanded further. See that? So basically, you keep going until it's expanded. Remember the differences. So for numeric, you are estimating the value. Here, for categorical, you're predicting a class, right? For numeric, you're looking at the information gain. Here, you're looking at the classification error. So that's a difference. For numeric, it's showing the color shade. Here, different color for each value, right? And you also get the sunburst, and you also get the rules spelled out here. So just know this, all right? That's the main difference. What else did we talk about? So I have to exit the full screen mode. Okay, and get back to the slides. Going back to the slides. Okay, so this is a summary of the decision tree, and we talked about this one, right? Decision tree piece. I talked about the decision rules. We talked about the sunburst, right? One thing that I forgot to show you is that you can edit the key drivers, right? So like here, this is a decision tree diagram. If you go to the not properties, it's in our fields, right? This is where you select the fields. You can go here and you can edit scope. And when you edit scope, you can choose which columns you want and which columns you don't want to be used in your decision trees, okay? But by default, Jesus, if it's asterisk, it means that Cognos recommends using that column. But you just know that it's possible to exclude some of the columns if you don't want to use them, okay? That's what it is in this slide. Now, as you may remember, so far, what we have done is we created the data explorations, right? So this is the data explorations, and data explorations allows us to get insights about our data. However, this is not the way we're going to present the data and the findings to our managers or to our users, right? And also, like, note that this is just a set of visualization. There is no way to highlight a certain point. Like for instance, if I want to select one of the states, like Nebraska, and I want to see all my visualizations just for that state, there is no way. Then if I want to apply the filter to all visualizations, there is no way, right? We cannot do it here. There is no way to add text. There is no way to change colors, how things appear, right? And so where does it take us? It takes us to the next topic, which will be dashboards. right? But before we jump into dashboards, please know that you have something called pins. Pins are the visualization set aside. So for instance, if I have this visualization over here, total claim amount spiral chart, if I have this, if I want to use this visualization in my dashboard, I want to pin it, right? So I would have to, what I would have to do is I would have to go to my cards. Those are the cards, and I can pin, I can take any of those cards and I can add it to pin. Do you see that this is a pin? This is what I would do. I would click on this pin and that would add the visualization to pins here. See this? I have 9 pins, and if you don't remember where you saved that pin, right? You don't remember what it's called. What you could also do is this: you can search the pins. Like for example, what did I say past month, right? It will filter to what I say past month. Or what did I say past week? No, apparently I saved it more than a month ago. See? This is what I saved earlier. You can look at it based on when you saved it. Or you can search for the pins. And you can do all, right? So I have not added these visualizations to pin, right? I have not. So let's just add this one. I'm gonna add this one. It's Protestant, and it's gonna edit it to pin. And see this now, if I'm going to see what I added today, it's gonna show this. See? Now I can go back to all. So pins as a set of, it's a visualization set aside, so to speak. So for instance, suppose that you want to create 5 dashboards and you want to reuse the same visualization. What you're gonna do, you can add it to pin, but there is another condition. The dashboard where you will use the pin should use the same data as a source as this is here. See this? This is where you added that pin, and what data did you use as the source? See, that's the data used as the source, and the dashboard needs to use the same data as a source, okay? Otherwise, it's not gonna work. Please remember this. Okay, and what data you gonna use as a source for your assignment? Remember what not to do. Now you cannot do it. I changed the settings. But what you'll have to do, you probably started working on your last 3 assignments already. So you went to the team content, right? This is your data for assignment 6 through 8. You pick one data set and you stick with it for the last 3 assignments. And you probably went here to the action menu and you're gonna copy it to my content, right? So what the problem is, this is why we had a problem with the server. Because some students, instead of copying data to my content as instructed, some students try to create dashboard from this data in a team content directly. But that crashed the server because the file in a team content has different permissions from the file that is my content. Whatever is in my content, you own that file. See what I'm saying? So you have more permissions. And for that reason, when the students try to use that file here in the team content directly, that crashed the server. So what I did was, as an admin, I went through permissions and I disabled that option. So now I'm not going to be sitting and yelling, hey, don't do that, right? You won't be able to do that, but you should not do it. So that fixed the problem. The system has been stable because I disabled it. So what you do is you just copy this, right? You copy it to my content, and that's it. You have to work from my content, right? So see here, like for example, I have the claims and weather data, right? I have to use it in my content to create the exploration and to create dashboard. So I remove those options. Now you're not gonna see them in a team content because you have to copy the data first. And you need to work with your copy of data because you have full privileges. You own your own copy of data. See? So we identified the cause and I fixed the permission. So now everything will be should be good. But still, please save your work, okay? So now we're gonna create the dashboard. But in my dashboard, I want to be able to reuse the calculations that we created last time, right? Remember, we handled our missing values. We filtered out the records that did not have effective to date. We created some calculations, etc., right? I want to be able to use those in my dashboard. So I'm going to use the data module, right? And what I'll do is, there are multiple ways to create dashboard. You can click on new, but if you do it this way, if you click on new and select dashboard, it is fine. But then you will have to specify which data you use as a source, right? It's a little bit harder. I find this way it's easier. I know I want to use this data as a source. So I'll just click here and I'm just gonna do create dashboard. See that? I like it this way better because here I know exactly what I'm trying to do, right? There are two types of dashboards here. Infographic is a long page, all right? Single page. The visualizations are not broken into tabs. So if you want to filter visualization, for example, you you can filter only one visualization at a time, or all visualizations. There is no way to break the visualizations into tabs, right? But for this class, we're going to use tab visualization because there's a little nice shortcut for you. If you do really well on week 7 assignment 8 will be walk in the park, because I'll show you what you can do to shorten the level of effort, okay? But see that you have to use the tab dashboard. Then there is a free form and there is some predefined template. The reason I would use the predefined template is that because the visualizations will be adjusted to the screen size. Right? So like for instance, if I was doing a demo on a bigger monitor, I probably want my visualizations to be adjusted based on the monitor size. And see, there are different options. I like it 2x2. Why do I like it 2x2? Well, the more visualizations you have, the longer the dashboard might take to load. Okay, so I'm just gonna do 2x2, and I'm just gonna do create. Okay, so this is my new dashboard. But let's take a look at this interface here. Uh, what is this? This is my data module. Do you see this? I have my column. See, this is a policy data group that we created last time. We created number of policies group. It's here, it's available. Then this is the average total claim in a state. And I believe I showed you how to do that in one of the videos. It's quite possible. That was an annual premium, right? This was a predefined filter. Remember, we created the selectable filter, personal coverage for small cars. And if I did not use the descriptive filter name, there is no way to tell what this is, right? I would be puzzled, so I would have to go back to my data module and see how I call that guy, right? So you have all of your columns here, and the icon represents the column data type, right? And of course, you can add more navigation paths here, but any calculation or any navigation paths that you add to this data module, that you add to this dashboard, will be available only for this dashboard. It won't be available for another dashboard that you create from the same data source, right? Now, very important thing, what is this? This is a default name, right? New dashboard. And the asterisk means that I did not save my work. So I'm gonna go ahead and I better save this work. I'm gonna say car dashboard, but wait a minute. Let's say cars dashboard. But when I save it, first of all, remember this. You can only save to my content. Do you see this? It won't let you save to team content. It's disabled. So I'm not going to be standing, hey, don't save it there, don't save it there. No. What I did was your permissions were configured accordingly that you cannot save it. See, you cannot save it to team content. You have to choose my content. Now you want to look at is do I have another dashboard with the same name? No. Now I can save. See, you cannot have two dashboards with the same name in your content area. Well, it's possible for your classmate to have a dashboard with the same name, but it's in their content. But see, I'm gonna save it as card dashboard for right now, and I'm gonna do go save. It's gonna be in my content. I saved it. See that message? It shows that it was saved. It's successful, right? It just that message was informative. It's not an error. It tells me that my saving was successful. So now I save this. What else do you have here? This is a canvas. This is an area where you'll be adding visualizations. This is the area where you'll be defining the filters, and I will show you filters. But first, let's uh, close that area. All right. So here you have undo and redo. So if you made some change that and you're unhappy about it, you can undo the change. But remember this, if you close your dashboard, when you come back to it, you cannot undo any changes that you made before closing the dashboard. On the other hand, when you exit the session, you want to close this dashboard, right? In fact, if you click on this here, on the switcher, it's going to show you everything that you have open, right? And you want to close it before you exit. So now I have it open. I'm going to be showing you stuff. So here is the save button, remember? Dashboard can toggle between edit mode and the preview mode. Right now there is nothing to preview, but if you see this here green, it means you're in the edit mode. If it's disabled, then you're in preview mode, right? So, and you can add visualizations, etc. We'll get to it. But first of all, you know that there are properties. And the properties that you see depend on what you are looking at. It depend on visualizations that you are looking at. Like for example, in here, those are the general properties of this tab, right? And I can add another tab if I want. When you add another tab, you don't have to stay with the same template. You can choose any template, right? And if you're not happy with the template that you chose, you click here, see this? You can always change template. That's how you would change template, right? Or you can always rename the tab title, right? And you can duplicate the tab or delete the tab. But let's look at the properties. Just as an example, you can choose if you want to show grid, right? Snap object to grid, which is what I want. Then you can change the colors and you can change how the tabs appear. You can style the individual tab or you can style all tabs. So for the property to style all tabs, I want my tabs to appear at the top, but you can change where they appear here. See, you can change. This one, if your tab has an icon, where you want to put an icon. We can select the color of the title, okay? Then we can select the selected bar color. So if the tab is selected, right, I want to show green line. I don't mean to do the traffic light in here, red, green, but I'm just showing you what can be done, right? Right, and then I can change my fill color if I want. Right, like this, you would change the fill color. Then you can also style the individual tabs if you want. Like for instance, I selected the second tab, and just for the sake of this demo, I can change the icon, right? So this is the icon, I can change it. I just added this icon. See that? So there are properties that modify all tab, and there are properties that modify the single tab. and I'm gonna go click save. Right? Few things that you want to keep in mind with colors is that you want your text to be readable. So you're not gonna do something like very light blue on white because it's hard to read. You want to see the contrast. All right. So that was the properties of the tabs. Now, how do we add visualizations here? First of all, the dashboard is in edit mode. There are multiple ways to add visualization. You may reuse your pins, or you may add visualizations from the library. I'm gonna add it from the library right now. So I like to do the pie chart and show you the properties of the pie chart. But first of all, see this? I drag and drop, and I want to hover over this arrow because I want to snap this visualization to grid. See this? I want the size to fit exactly to this slot here. So now what? Remember, those are the fields, data fields, that you use for this visualization. And if you see the asterisk here, it means that you must specify the field. And to specify the field, you have several options, right? So in my case, I want the segment to be the state. So I can drag and drop the state here, right? That's one way. Another way is to click here and to select which field I want to use for the visualization. And in here, I want to use a customer. I'll tell you why. Because I want to show the number of customers. Okay, so here it is. But how do I know? First of all, let's make sure here. What am I showing here? Am I showing the number of customers or am I showing the number of claims? Because the customer can have multiple claims. So let's take a look how this field is being summarized, right? See this, it's doing count distinct. So here in this case, it's showing the number of customers per state. But as you may have read before, the goal of the pie chart is to show the percentage of the whole, right? Let's expand, let's minimize this guy and let's expand it. See this? Right now, at the moment, it's showing the number of customers per state, but we're gonna fix it. Because really the pie chart is to show the percentage of data as a whole, right? And also see here, when I click here, it shows me what data is being visualized. See that? Those are the states and the number of customers within each state. Now we're gonna go to the properties, right? See this is a visualization, and I'm opening that visualization in a focus mode. I'm going to the properties here. What do I have? I can change the colors if I want to. So now this is the legend. If I want to show legend or not, see that I can turn it on and off. I probably want to show because I need to know what each color means. But sometimes it's annoying when legend is the first thing I see, right? So I can change the alignment and I can also change where the legend is positioned. Like for example, I can show it at the bottom, right? I want to see my chart first. Well, just an example. And I want to see legend here. Sometimes I want to do that. Now, next one. Um, this one is just the title font, right? The colors. But now let's go to the properties of the chart itself first. Okay. I scroll down and I should see the way to show percentages. See this? I want to show percentages because the point of this chart is to show the percentages of the whole, right? The percentage of the whole. So now it's showing the percentages. Perfect, that's what I want. I can keep the font size default for right now. I'll let you play with this. But also, what you could do, there is a property called radius. So I can make it look a little bit like a donut. And what is in the middle? In the middle, it shows the total number of customers. So see here, it's nice. I have the percentage, But if I want to, I can still click here and see the actual values that are being visualized. See that state and number of customers. Okay, so the properties that I have here depend on the visualization that I am currently looking at. Some properties could be in common, like the title, right? Or there could be general properties. I can change this visualization appearance. For instance, I can add the border. So see that if I minimize it, here on dashboard, I can see the border. I can change the fill color, etc. But please remember that you want to make sure that what you do is readable, right? And then I can also click here and I can change the font. See that it displays this toolbar here and similar text properties here. So I can make this centered. I can increase the font size, etc. This should not be, well, it makes sense, right? Or I can make it bold, anything that you would usually do with the properties. See, this is the text properties. You can change that, okay? So that's one way to add visualizations. How else can you add visualizations? You go to pins and you can just drag and drop something from pins, right? Like I like this visualization, right? And I can go here, I can drag and drop and it shows this visualization, see? That's just an example here. Or see that I can do that, I can do it this way. I can reuse my visualizations from the assignment that I did last week ago, right? I can do that. What else can you do? Oh, do not forget, you have access to this little friend over here. Do you see that little friend assistant? Uh, One reason I like to use this assistant from here because you don't need to worry about specifying the data source. When I click on assistant, it automatically picks up the data that I'm working with. See? I'm working with this data, right? This data module. It's going to pick up this data module. See, one of the problems that we had earlier was that the students ran analysis on the data that was stored in the team content instead of my content. But whatever is in team content is shared with you. You don't have full privileges. It was killing the server. So what I did was I removed the option to use an assistant on data in a team content. You always have to copy data to my content, okay? So see this shows you the information about the fields in the data. You can click on show more. That's pretty much the same that you saw when you did the exploration, right? See this number of open complaints, mass and last claim. You see information about the columns in this data, right? So what you could do here, you could just click on a field to see more, right? Oh, that's an average non-claim by the state. But I want to look at something like total claim amount. I click on this here, see that it gives you details. Here, it shows you what influences total claim amount, right? So let's say I click on oh, you can take a look at what influences. Those are the fields that you might be interested in. This one, what influences total claim amount? Let's click on that. So now you can do the actual, you can see the actual charts. See that I see my location code. And what I could do, if I want to use this chart in my dashboard, I can just drag and drop this chart into my dashboard. Okay, does it make sense? Something like that. I can just drag and drop this chart. Okay, well, what else you can do here? Multiple things, right? That's one way to add visualization. Another way is to just go back to your other file. Like see, I'm gonna go back to content and I'm gonna go to claims and weather data exploration. I saw an option to actually copy and paste, right? So this one, I selected this one, and there is an option here. There was an option to copy and paste. Don't see that option now, but see that this is a card, right? If I select this card, there should be an option to copy, right? Copy, and then you just paste. Let's try this. Let's see if that works. But if it does not, you have to add this. If it does not work this way, then what you have to do is you have to add this visualization to the pins, right? Or you could recreate the visualization as well. All right? But usually it lets me copy paste visualizations. Okay? Usually it does, but so see that I copied it. I copied something on my clipboard. Let's see if I go back to data module. Let's see if it lets you. Let's see. You never know. Oh yes, it did. See, I just did the Control V to paste. There we go. See, you can copy and paste. For some unknown reason, sometimes one of the students had pins messed up. That's again, it falls back to not following instructions. The student used the data that was in the team content and that messed up all the pins that the student had. All right. Please, 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 please follow the instructions. Right. So right now you won't be able to not follow that part because I changed the permissions. So that way I'm not gonna be, yelling at you. Don't do this, don't do this. I'm gonna make it so that you cannot do it if possible. All right. So that's how to add visualization. You can copy paste. You can another thing you can do is the same thing that you did with assistant earlier. Like you can do suggest questions, right? Suggested questions, something like that. And it's gonna give you the set of questions that you might be interested in, right? This is what it's gonna do for you, see? Or what else you could do is you can create a brand new dashboard. Do you see that? So it loaded this data that you're looking at right now, and there is an option here to create the dashboard. See that? It can create a new dashboard with this data as a starting point. It's just gonna create a new file. See that? You can do that, see? Let's close this out. I'm just showing you that it's possible to create a totally new dashboard. Oh, right now I have this dashboard open, so that's not gonna work. If I was going to do it, if I was going to use Assistant to create dashboard, this is what I would have to do. I would have to go back to the welcome page, and how do I get back to the welcome page? I just click on the logo. See this? I can call Assistant here, and I have an option to create dashboard. But note this, over all the commands that I was typing inside while I was in the data and while I was in the dashboard, see this all those commands everything that I was doing in there is saved, see? So it automatically loaded the correct data for me. I recommend using Assistant from inside dashboard or from inside data exploration because it will pick up the correct data. The reason Cognos failed because some students attempted to run this on data in the team content. Now you won't be able to do that. You can try and you're gonna get an error, okay? Because it's forbidden. Now, there is an option here, see this? You can do create dashboard to get started, and it's gonna create you a brand new dashboard as a starter, right? Well, at the moment, it's empty, so let's close this. Close without saving. But just know that you can use Assistant to create a brand new dashboard. Is this? Oh, okay. So, see that I select the data module that I want to do. Never select anything from team content. Always select from the my content, claims and weather data module open. This is how you would do. All right, this is how you would use this assistant. But what the way I recommend this, I don't recommend doing it from here, right? I recommend that you use it from the dashboard or from the exploration straight, okay? And just grab the visualizations. That's the way I recommend to do it. But take a look at what's gonna happen right now. If you're trying to not follow instructions, right? If you go to team content, if you go to here, if you go to here, watch what's gonna happen. Suppose that I selected cars, okay? It's gonna stop me. Right now, I'm gonna click on open and you're gonna get an error. See? Do you see this? I just got an error. See this? You don't have a capability. So what I did was I blocked it. So now you will not be able to use data from the team folder for this analysis. If you see this error here, it means that you probably trying to use the data from the team folder. You won't be able to do that anymore. What do you need to do? See this? If you need to use this here, okay? Just know this. I have to show you that. You want to make sure that you use the correct data. The data that you use must be from my content, okay? Anyway, so the point was here that you could use assistant from inside the dashboard. This is a dashboard that I showed you. Oops. Sometimes, oops, car dashboard. There are two tabs, right? So let's close this out. Let's close this out. Now I'm gonna show you, I have some examples that I prepared for you. Let's close this out and close this out. I'm gonna go back to the content, my content. I have prepared several examples for you. So let's see the filters demo. Okay, this one is for filters demo. I'll show you the filters now. Okay, so here I have two tabs, okay? This one, this is a claim amount by location code, right? This is a customer's percentage by the state. So I've got this too. Here, I have the states again. I made a copy intentionally, okay? I'm gonna go to edit mode and I'm going to add the filter. I'm going to add the filter. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to the filters area and I need to drag and drop the column that I want to use as a filter. And I'm gonna do the state. I'm doing it intentionally. So this one is all tabs. And then I'm gonna select Iowa and I'm gonna select the Missouri. Done. What's gonna happen right now? All visualizations are adjusted. Everything in this dashboard got adjusted. See this here? And the same thing here, okay? It got adjusted here because I applied it to all dashboard. Right now, I'm gonna do something different. I'm gonna delete this filter and I'm gonna take the state code again and I'm gonna drag and drop to this tab only. And let's select Oklahoma and Nebraska. Done. What happens here? This is filtered. On the other hand, the second tab is not filtered because I applied the filter only to the first tab and I don't see any filters in here, right? Go back to the first tab and I can remove. So filters can be applied to individual visualizations, to the tab, or to the whole dashboard. So I'm going to remove the filter now, right? Save it and close it. Now, know that for the dashboard, you can add text and widgets, right? So how do you do that? Well, let's open back the car dashboard. Oh, you see that? Oh yeah, because I messed up. It's okay, it's okay. No worries. I know what I did, but no worries. Car dashboard close. Content. Okay, now I close it from here. I messed up the dashboard. I know what I did. No worries. Okay, now I can use this. Okay, I'll show you how to add text in another example. I prepared the big dashboard for you. So I prepared claims and weather dashboard, this one. This is a big example that I prepared for today. So now let's go to the edit mode and let's see. So I have, what do I have? How many tabs do I have? 5 tabs. To add this one here, this is a text. To add the text, what I did was, this is a custom, this is a widget, right? Widgets. Here, I drag and drop this text. Then for the text, the properties are going to be different. It's going to be basically the text color. It's going to be the horizontal alignment, vertical alignment, right? So those are the properties of the text, right? What is this? You cannot copy and paste the pictures. You have to drag and drop this image, and then you need to specify the image URL online. So image URL, it has to end with GPG. So you can search for images on Google Images, and then get the image URL. It depends on the browser that you use. Sometimes it could be get image link, sometimes it get the link, something like that, depends on the browser. But make sure that it ends with GPG or PNG. Now this is the image, the source of the image online, right? So now what I'm gonna do, oh, I'll show you what else I have here. Well, and you can add shapes, right? So let's close this widget. And I have a video that shows details for the text and for the images. See, this is a second tab, but intentionally I put the number intentionally, because what I'm gonna do, this is gonna lead us to the next topic. I'm gonna save this dashboard as a story for the next topic. But see, those are the visualizations. I show in here the total claim amount, overall total claim amount. Then I show total claim amount by location code. Then I go further and I show the total claim amount by location code and the vehicle type. See this? Then I added another column. So if you look at this guy here, I can show you the fields first. So here, columns are the location code. Then for the rows, I want to show vehicle class, and then I want to show the coverage type in the vehicle class. And the value, I want to show the total claim amount. But remember this, if I look at the summarize, is this average? Uh, how do I know that it's going to show the average? It's because when I created data module, I changed the properties of the total claim amount. So now I don't need to worry about, it's going to show the average. But what else what I did here? If you go to properties for this specific visualization, so this one, there are different properties. This is a color. I want to change the summary color here. What is the summary? This one here, it summarizes the row, all right? So this one is the average total claim amount for the car. See this is a four-door car, basic coverage. This is the average total claim amount. But for each column, see, if I look at the intersection of the column and row, like for example here, this cell here, it's gonna show the average claim amount for the rural location, four-door car, basic coverage type, right? Then what else did I do? I took this available data, which is total claim amount, and I created the rules. See, this is a rule. And you can add new rules, but for this rule specific, I said this. If the coverage, see that's a rule definition. I want to say this. If the value is greater than 1,000, I want to show it red and I want to see the up arrow. See, this is the indicator. If the value, then another rule is this. If the value is under 300, I want to show the green color and this down arrow. So I was just playing around with properties, okay? The properties that you have depend on what visualization you're looking at, see? And I played with the title. I did a lot of work here, right? Okay, so then I have another tab in here. That one is just the predictive models. All right, this is just the distribution of customer demographics. Then I wanted to look a little bit more at the drivers, okay? So I have this numerous visualizations that I created, right? But the thing is, this is a tab dashboard. There is no way to specify the transitions here. Like for example, bank, I show this page. It's too much to absorb at once. What if I want to show this visualization first? Then I want to show only the first two. Then I want to show add the third. Then I want to add the next one, right? So I want to give perhaps maybe 10 seconds after adding each visualization, just to let the user some time to absorb what is being shown, right? Just an example. Then I want to show, perhaps I want to show this page for a minute. And after a minute, I want to move on to this page. There is no way to do something like this in a dashboard. So that's going to take us to our next topic, right? But before we do that, see this, I'll just show you the slide. I went over for the most part. Maybe I did it in slightly different order, but this one, you're gonna have slides. I just spelled things out for you, okay? See, we went the properties of the tabs, how to add visualizations, right? I showed you this, but sometimes some topics they can be covered in different order. I don't have the slides memorized, right? See this? So to add pin visualization, you would just select the pin and drag and drop, right? This is how to add the text widget. You just drag and drop, okay? But please here, do me a favor. Do not show this slide to data 650 students because they're gonna get jealous. See here? I say I love data 605, but my 650 students are gonna be, wait a minute, are you saying you don't like us? So please don't show this slide, okay? Anyways, so this is how to add the text widget, and you have this, how to add an image, etc., right? You have those slides. And here is just showing you visualizations are linked. So if I select one data point, right? So I'll go back here, like for example here, when I select this data point here, note this, all my visualizations get adjusted. See, I selected just the luxury car. See, this is the average for luxury car. And this summary visualizations get adjusted to the luxury car. That's what it means on that slide. If I select something in one visualization, the same data point will be selected in the other. That's what I mean by visualizations are linked. So now I can unselect like this. See, I'm back. This is part that I forgot to show you. Okay, now let's go back to the slide. I showed you this piece. I showed you the filters, right? Okay, story. What is a story? It's over time. It's over the time narrative. Now is the time to show you how to cheat. Well, not cheat, but how to. It's a shortcut. You have your dashboard ready, right? What you're gonna do for week 8 assignment? Uh, First, you did a great job. Just assume you did a great job, or to your best knowledge, great job in assignment 7. What you're gonna do here? You're gonna go here, and you're gonna do save as a story. Okay. Now, there are several types of stories: slideshow and a guided journey. And the main difference is where the each scene is on the same canvas or on a different canvas. All right. For a slideshow, each scene is on a different canvas. Okay. For right now, I'm just going to select the slideshow template. And I'm gonna click select and watch what's gonna happen right now. Now I need to save it. I need to save it. By default, well, of course, always save it where not you're not gonna be able to save to team content, so that I'm not gonna stand and yell, please don't do it. I set up the permission so that you cannot do it. Okay, so here it's a story. By default, it's gonna take the dashboard name and it's gonna prefix the word with the word story. Okay. Now what's gonna happen? I'm going to hit save, right? It's gonna open my dashboard. Oh, it's gonna open my story. Uh, please note here. What is this? In the dashboard, I had how many tabs? 5. Each tab of my dashboard now becomes a scene in a story. Jesus, I've got 5 scenes in here. Of course, I'm not limited. I can add the new scene and then I can specify the template that I want to use, right? Add and delete. Right? If I don't like, I can always delete. But what do you have some similarities is this one, it's gonna take the same data source as your dashboard was. Uh, I still can see all of my calculations because I created them where in the data module. Okay, so then I can still see all my pins. I can add new visualization, right? See this? I can modify visualizations. I can apply the filter to all scenes, or I can apply the filter to only single scenes. This works similar to the uh, dashboard, right? You can add new visualizations. You still have your assistant here, but I'm gonna show you now the properties specific to this story. So I selected this. As you see, this here has what four visualizations, right? Or earlier I mentioned that I want to show this one first, then I want to show the second one, then I want to show the third one, and then the fourth one. What do you see here? You can open the timeline, and the timeline has several objects. So see, in this visualization, you have 4 objects. Here is going to be a little piece that's not in this piece is in the slide, but not all. I'm going to look at the properties as well here. So this one here, this is this visualization that shows average claim amount. And here is a scene timeline. I can modify when the visualization becomes visible. So see, this is the edge, the starting edge, and this is the ending edge. By default, the scene duration is 5 seconds, but I can make it longer, okay? I can scroll here, and I can make my scene last longer. See that? I extended this. So this is what I see first. This one, perhaps, well, I want to start it a little bit later. So I can just drag this edge. I can do it this way. Or what else you can do? Look, you selected this, right? This is a visualization. You go to animation animation part. So you can specify how you want this to show. So I want to show it from from second point 1 second, right? Second and half. I want to show it to the end, right? Just an example. If I want to show this to the end, okay, so what you need to do, you can specify it here. See this, you go to animation and you can show how animation enters and how animation exits, right? So see this, it ends at 7 seconds, but how does it start showing? How does it enter? I can choose fade in or I can choose slide in, right? So this is just to choose how the visualization appears. So I'm just gonna do, I selected this. I can drag and drop the edge, or I can also specify the start, second start as, see that I can specify when I want this to start and when I want this to end. I can specify it here, or I can drag and drop this here. See this? I can do it this way, either way, see? And now I can also specify the last one for how long I want to see it. See, this is a timeline. See that? That's a timeline. Now let me see what happens if I go to, oops, I'm still sharing the screen, right? I was trying to go to the full screen in here. There we go. Because otherwise you won't be able to see the preview. Okay, see this? What happens is, so now I only see one visualization. Why do I see only one? That's because it's the beginning of the timeline. So let's preview this thing. Watch what's gonna happen. I'm previewing. Oops. It started previewing from the first one. Next. Oops. I want to play it. Let's do play. Play. Watch. See how it shows? But for this one, I specify how I want transition, right? I did not specify how I want transition for this one. So I go to animation and now it's fading, but what I want to do, I'm just selected something else. See, I just selected how I want to show this. So now I'm gonna go and preview this thing. See this? So it's here, I can play this thing. Play. Let's see what's gonna happen. See how this and how this. I can specify how this actually gets introduced, if you will, right? Okay. And I'm doing the slideshow for the story type. Few things to remember that. Look, I created this story from the dashboard. If I was gonna go and make any changes to the dashboard after I save it as a story, the changes will not be applied to the story. So please make sure that you are actually done, that you totally, done with the dashboard before you create a story, because then the changes you make are not going to be applied. Okay, so now I'm going to close this out for a second. I'm going to close this in timeline. Okay, uh, here you can also change how you want to preview. I want to play all scenes. I'll just do that for right now. This is how you would preview. Remember, you have edit mode and you have a view mode. You can undo the last changes, but you cannot undo the changes that were made before you reopen the dashboard. Okay. So now I mentioned that there is also the guided journey option. So now I'll be looking at I want to unselect the visualization. I want to look at properties of the whole dashboard. So let's see if it lets me. Oops. Right now, I have this visualization selected, so I have to somehow unselect it to show the properties of the whole dashboard. I want to do this guided journey. I can select guided journey, and then I can select the type of guided journey. Now, I like this type for a good reason, because I can see all of this. I can select this, see this. I'm going to see all of it on the same screen, right? Look, I can see all of it on the screen. And that way, I could take a picture of this for my paper. See, I could take this picture for my paper. That's how I would have done it. But again, this is me, and you is you, right? Okay, so I forgot to do something. What did I forget to do? Take a look at this. Asterisk. I did not save the work. I have to save the work. Okay, always save the work. And if I was gonna exit, am I going to go ahead and close this tab if I was gonna exit? No, right? I would have to close everything that I have open, right? I would have to close everything that I have open. Then I would go in here and I would log out from here, right? Just remember that you don't want to just close the tab. because you're gonna be in trouble in the next session, okay? Why are you gonna be in trouble? Well, because the session is not ended correctly. The session could still be active and you have no access to the session. And so this is just spelled out how to do the story. One way you can do it this way, but I don't like to do it from scratch because, first of all, you would have to specify the data source. Then you would have to define all of the layouts, etc. I don't like doing it from scratch. I like to do the work as a dashboard and then to reuse the work in the story. See, the story allows you to configure when things appear, disappear. You can also apply the filters, and you might create from dashboard or from scratch. And those are the different types: slideshow and the guided journey. I like the guided journey for some reason. Okay, this is just showing you the different portions of the interface, right? You can always preview data being visualized. You can add the text, all of the widgets and images, etc. Okay. You can adjust the timeline. Okay. Okay. See that the timeline shows when things appear, disappear. And this one is just showing you steps to save dashboard as a story. And each dashboard tab corresponds to the scene of the story. This is the playlist for the videos. I always have to remind you. I always remind you about this because this will help you a lot with the assignments. Okay, there is a bonus topic that is not in this video, not in the slide, sorry, and not in the videos either. So let's close this. Okay, bonus topic is about the nested dashboard example. So let's open this one up and I'll show you what I'm doing here. Okay, I have dashboard here. Let's go to edit mode. I have a dashboard here, main dashboard. And I selected, in this case, I selected scissors. I think I did the 2x2 layout in this case. So in here, I have my decision tree, right? But notice that I have something else. What is this? This is nested dashboard. So to create the nested dashboard, you would need to use it in here in widget, and it's this one, advanced. See, this is a nested dashboard. You would drag and drop this nested dashboard on your dashboard, and this is all the nested dashboard. See that? So if I wanted to do that, I would just need to drag and drop, right? So let me just show you. See that I add another tab here, right? I add another tab, create. I'm gonna undo it, but I'll just show you what I did. See that? This is a dashboard inside the dashboard, and you can keep on adding tabs in there, right? This is a nested dashboard. Now I'm going to undo because I don't want to keep this one that I just did. Okay, I'm going back now here, and I'll show you why is it good? What's good about it? Take a look. This is my decision tree, right? And to actually see things, I need to select the node, etc. See this? I'm selecting the node to see the location. Now here, I'm selecting and I have to read the rules, right? In here, what I did was I'm showing average total claim amount. See this? I added 3 tabs to my nested dashboard. This one is just showing average total claim amount by location code. Here I see the total claim amount by vehicle class. And this one is just the location code and the vehicle class. See that? One nice thing about it is this. I can go in here, right? So see this, as I'm looking at this tree, I see all these summaries, right? It does not take a lot of space. Instead of having 3 tables in here by themselves, see, I added this tab dashboard, the nested dashboard, and each tab of nested dashboard, I'm showing this widget showing this summary. Is that? But now take a look at what's gonna happen. I selected the suburban location in here, right? I just selected the suburban. Now it's gonna adjust the tree to show just the area where suburban location is. In this case, it's pretty much, oh, it's showing the whole tree now, so I have to change. Let's switch to the full screen again. Okay. Well, what you can do is you can select the data element in here. I can select the data element in here, and the same data element will be adjusted here. See this? This is what I did. I selected the SUV vehicle class. And my decision tree right now, I only see the nodes that have to do with this vehicle class. See that? If I look at this here, it's just showing me for this vehicle class. See? It's gonna split by the coverage, then it's gonna split by effective due date. See this? I only see the portion of the tree. I limited the tree to the specific vehicle class. Basically, what I'm saying is that I can look at these statistics while looking at this diagram. Or I can select just the location and see this. You see how my tree is adjusted? The tree is adjusted only to show that specific location that I selected. See? Remember that location is a column that used for the force split. If I select the specific location, it's gonna show only specific location here. Oh, but I also selected the SUV. I need to unselect. I unselect the SUV, right? I only select the location here, location, and it's gonna show me only that branch of the tree for specific location. See that? Isn't it nice? So I can select something here, right? I can select an element in the top dashboard, and the same selection will be applied to all visualizations outside this top dashboard. On the other hand, if I add a filter here, right? If I want to add a filter, the same filter will apply to this nested dashboard, all right? This nested dashboard and whatever I have outside nested dashboard are interconnected. That's what I was trying to show. So instead of, see, if I don't need to look at these three at the same time, I can put them in a nested dashboard and have it as a tab. See that? This is an advanced topic. You're not required to do nested dashboards, but I like you to see. I did not cover it before, but this is a topic I started covering since this semester. All right. I kind of discovered it and I wanted to show you. Okay. So now it's going to be your turn. I want to see what questions you may have. Okay. I'll exit the full screen mode. Now it's time for questions, guys. Please ask me questions. Anything that you want to see or anything that came up as you were working on assignments. Anything? Anything. Please ask me, guys. Hopefully everyone is still here. Anyone? Any questions, please? Are you confident with the last 2 or 3 assignments? Please ask me. And again, while you're thinking about some questions, remember this. If you need longer access, well, things happen. Sometimes people get incomplete. They have longer access requirements. I need to know, well, your instructor needs to tell me. They need to work with me because, well, I know that grade is confidential, but in this case, we are talking about the access, right? So as an admin, I need to know who needs longer access. And if there are several who need longer access, then we'll see what we can do to make sure that you still keep access, because we're going to be transitioning to the new server but we cannot turn off this server until people are done with incomplete, right? So this is an approved extended access, let's say this way, right? Any questions for me, guys, please? Do not hesitate. No questions? No comments? Well, if there are no questions, then what we're gonna do is we're gonna call it a night, and I'm gonna give.
I think someone asked a
Yeah,
question
go
in the
ahead.
chat.
What's that?
Someone put it in the chat.
Ah, you can type in the chat, or you can say, "Did you put it? Is there anything in the chat? I don't see." Oh, can you create? Oops, oops. Oh, sorry. Oh, I see. Can you create? Change the color of the decision tree. Okay. Yes and no. You cannot change the color of the decision tree when you are looking at the exploration, but you can change the color of the decision tree when you are in the dashboard. Let's do that. So see this? I'm in the decision tree. Okay, I selected the decision tree, and I'm sorry. I did not mean to miss any questions. I want to address all questions. So here it is. This is a decision tree, right? What I'm gonna do is see that this is a properties, but this is only in a dashboard or in a story. You cannot do it in a exploration. Okay, this is a purple. I'm gonna change the palette. I want to select the magenta. See this? This is how I would change the color tree. Does it answer the question? See this? I changed the color of the decision tree. So now it's gonna be magenta, and also if you look at this visualization, right? This it's still the darkness of the color indicates the total average total claim amount. The darker the color is, the higher is the total claim amount. See, there are different palettes, but I picked magenta. You can pick cyan. You can pick teal. This is up to you. But you want to make sure that when you create a dashboard, you see what I mean? You want to make sure that it's readable, and you kind of want to make it that it appeals, if you will. Yes, you cannot do it in exploration, exactly. So basically, in your paper, uh, I believe you're asked about the advantages of the dashboard. So make on your paper, I would make a note that one advantage of the dashboard is I can change the colors of my visualizations. I can add text, right? I can add actual text where I explain what the dashboard is trying to show. You can add the images, right? These are changing colors, changing how things appear. This is something that you're gonna write in a paper about the dashboard. And the fact that you can select data point and the same data point will be selected in the rest of the dashboard. You can also say something like it's possible to have the nested dashboard. I'm not quite sure about the levels of nesting, but I'm sure that you can do at least 3. But then keep in mind that the more layers you have, the longer the dashboard could take to load. So this is something for you to decide, right? But that's a good point to make in your paper. You can state that it's possible to even create a nested dashboard inside the dashboard. See, this is an example that I just did for you. Okay? This is not in the slides because this is something that I came up recently. I played with it, and then I was doing the session. I said, okay, why don't I show this to students? See, this is an example. You can do this, nested dashboards, right? Guys, please, more questions. I like questions, love questions. The more the better. It shows that people are working on assignments and people have been trying to understand what I showed, right? Yeah, exactly. So colors can be changed where? Not in the exploration, but only in a dashboard and in the story, okay? Got this piece, right? More questions, guys, please. I like questions. I don't see anything in the chat anymore. All right. Questions? No? So let's hope that Cognos stay stable. And another difference is that right now the sessions 90, 40, 41, etc. they're over. So less people, less trouble, right? No, I'm joking. Don't say that. Don't say Yelena said that, okay? Okay, but anyways, yeah, so there was a change made to permissions which stabilized the server. All right. Uh, Anything else, guys? Tell me, because if there are no questions,
Uh,
then
I have a
go ahead.
question actually for the decision tree.
Mhm,
You were comparing the categorical value versus numerical, and then
mhm,
you mentioned something about measuring error rate for categorical using the
mhm.
decision tree. I didn't understand that part. If you can explain.
Ah, there basically is that how does Cognos determine which column to use for a split? If you're looking at the numeric column, it's gonna pick the column that produces the highest information gain, right? But for the categorical, sometimes there is a classification error. Like for example, I was trying to predict the employment status, right? So is it the one? Nope. I need to look at the one with. I was trying to predict somebody's employment status, but sometimes the prediction could be an error. I could predict you as employed, right, where you are actually unemployed. Now I can't. That's interesting. Oh, okay. So I need to be looking at the cards. Well, I had how many? This is just total claim amount. This one is. Ooh, hold on. I'll find it. I'll find it. But basically, oh, it's here. It's employment status. Okay. So uh, the first node represents everyone, all employees, right? Let me do, where is the full screen? Here, this is a full screen, all right? How do I know which column do I use as a first split, right? How does Cognos determine which columns to use? It's gonna look at multiple combinations and it's gonna see this is a classification problem, right? Because you're predicting the class. This is a categorical, so you want to predict the specific if an employment status. This is a class because the value is a label, right? Disabled, employed, medical leave, retired, unemployed. And sometimes there is an error. If I if I take a new record perhaps, right? And if I traverse the tree, I want to predict the class. And sometimes my prediction could be incorrect. And I want to, the algorithm is trying to minimize the number of incorrect predictions. That's what it's doing. It's not looking at the information that will be gained just from splitting. But here it's looking at if I use perhaps the vehicle type that the customer drives, how accurate is my classification is going to be. So the goal is to minimize the classification error for the decision tree when you have the categorical column. Here, see this, I'm predicting employment status. It might not be the best example here, but just assume. So it's trying to pick, how does it know? It picked the income. Well, it's just looking at multiple combinations and picking the income as a first splitting column would probably reduce the classification errors. Then how does it know what's next? Again, it's gonna pick the column to minimize the errors. In this case, it doesn't split anymore. So let's look at this one. That one splits, right? How does it know that I want to pick marital status? It's just gonna analyze and try to minimize the chance that the prediction, the the classification, right, of the predicted employment status will be incorrect. I hope that makes sense. It's very well. It's gonna take time to understand it the first time you see it, but in the later coursework, when you look at the decision tree, you're gonna be also looking at the errors. Like how accurate is this model? Will it always predict the correct employment status? And what is the chance? Like for instance, sometimes it might be incorrect. It might predict me as retired but while I'm on a medical leave, something like that. So we want to make it as accurate as possible, but at the same time, we don't want the model to overfeed the data that you've been trained. See what I'm saying? So this is a little bit, it gets a little bit complicated. So it's trying to find the best model, trying to predict as accurate as possible. It's looking at the error for the decision tree. This is basically how the algorithm work internally, and we don't see the implementation because this tool is a closed source. We cannot see how it's being implemented, right? Another thing that you don't have in here is that in the later coursework, you're going to be looking at something called neural network. So that's another model, right? So you're going to be looking at more model, things like naive Bayes. You're going to be looking at more, but here you just introduced to the decision tree. And important part is error. In the upcoming courses, you're going to be looking at the errors in more details, right?
Okay, thank you so much.
Yes, but I appreciate the question. I'm glad that you asked because this is a very good, it's an excellent question. Excellent.
Thank you.
Sure. More questions, guys? I love questions. I like students who ask questions. But please don't show that slide. There is one slide where it says, I love data 605. Please don't show it to any other course in this program, okay? Because they're gonna be, huh? What? You don't like us? you know. Anyways, uh, anything else I can help you with? Well, and again, I'm trying to help. So you can ask anything now. Anything about Cognos. Going once, going twice. No questions? Well, then, if there are no more questions, I'm gonna call it a night. I'll end the recording and you're gonna get the recording and you're gonna get the slides, okay, guys? So, and thank you very much for participation in a live session. Okay, stop the recording.